Hi everyone, it's Ryan. Welcome back to the Syntax Byte. In this video, we're going to finish up our Flappy Bird game by adding scoring and fixing up our game over phase. So you'll recall from last video that we've got collision detection working. We can get Flappy through the pipes, and when we fail to do that, the game sort of stops. But you can see if we continue to click the screen, we're like able to jump. Then we hit a pipe, and weird things are going on. Basically, we just stopped any existing tweens going, but we're still listening for events. Those sort of things are still going on. So we got to stop all of that, completely stop the game, then provide the option for the user to click to reset the game and start a new game. And then after that, we'll add scoring functionality. If you guys are interested in sound effects, if the series gets enough traction, I will definitely make a video for that. So definitely leave a like and a comment below if that's something you want to see. However, in the meantime, you can always look at the documentation. I think it's pretty clear, and this is a pretty complete rendition of Flappy Bird, even without sound effects. So to get started, we're going to look at our game over function where we have the Create.js.tween.remove all tweens. So we still want to do that, but in addition, we need to remove some of the event listeners that we had. So we actually need to come up here and where we had stage.on, stage mouse down, jump Flappy. We actually need to provide a variable, so I'm going to call it jump listener to refer to that. And then we're going to do jump listener equals that. And then we're going to do stage.off, stage mouse down, jump listener. So that will prevent that jump listener from coming up. When you click the screen, it won't continue trying to jump. From there, I want to do a clear interval, and I want to remove that pipe creator interval. So that function that's creating pipes in the background for us, we want to remove that. We didn't actually set a variable for it, so I'll do that as pipe creator. That's, of course, what I referred to down here in clear interval. And then up here, I need to declare that as a global. Perfect, so that should stop that function occurring every 6 seconds when the game is stopped. Lastly, we need to remove the listener that checks for collision. So I'm going to do create.js.ticker.remove event listener tick check collision. And so with these lines, it should be enough to actually give us a proper game over. There shouldn't be any weird interactions with the screen afterwards. So let's go ahead and refresh. Make sure the game actually fully stops. And so when I click, it doesn't jump anymore. Nothing is happening. We can't pick up on anything happening. Let's make sure there's no errors in the console. There's no errors in the console. So the game is just effectively stopped. It's dead. Any interaction that we would have with it is no more. However, after about 2 seconds, I want to actually allow the user to reset the game. Okay, so what I want to do for that is I'm going to use a set timeout just to put the functionality in there so that, and the reason I'm using a set timeout to put 2 seconds between when the game ends and when the user can click the screen to reset is otherwise, you're jumping, and you hit the pipe, you don't almost realize that the game stopped, and all of a sudden you've clicked twice, or you've clicked after the game stopped accidentally and triggered a new game. So we want to give the player a couple seconds to realize that the game is stopped and stop their clicking, so that, hopefully they are intentionally clicking to restart the game after, not just accidentally continuing to click thinking that they're jumping. So I'm going to put that right here. We're going to do a set timeout. It's going to be a function. 2 seconds is fine. You can make this more or less depending on your preferences. We'll do a stage.on, stage mouse down. We're going to do reset game. We're going to do null, and then we're going to do true, which means that it will only be called once. Okay? So we're only going to call this event listener once. Once it resets the game, of course, we don't need to continue resetting the game. I'll make that function reset game. That will be called. So what do we want to do in reset game? How do we reset this to a state that's reasonable for us? Well, we probably don't need to redo everything that's done in init. We don't need to reload these assets. They're still loaded. We don't really need to redraw the background. Nothing's changing there. Of course, you could actually make a more sophisticated refresh function than what I'm going to do that also doesn't reinitialize the Flappy, doesn't reinitialize the clouds. I mean, there's nothing wrong with those. You could just start up the tweens again, etc. But the easiest way that I think to do this is if we just start from about handle complete. Now, in order to start from handle complete, we actually need to remove some of these existing things because they're going to be recreated by that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by removing everything but the background because the background's in our init function. And then I'm just going to call handle complete. So we will do I'm going to have an array. So it's going to be var children to remove equals stage.children.filter for where child and where child.name is not equal to background. And where we just want to make sure that we actually gave our background a name. It did background, so that's how we can make sure that we don't accidentally delete the background when we're deleting all the other children. And we will do for var I equals 0, I is less than children to remove.length, and I plus plus. We'll go ahead and tell the stage to remove child, children to remove at I. Then we'll go ahead and call handle complete. I want to make sure that in my handle complete is actually where I'm putting started equals false. So here I have it up here. I'm actually just going to put that like that. And then in handle complete at the top here, I'm going to do started equals false. So that way it resets when we reset the game. So that should be everything we need to reset the game. Let's go ahead and refresh. See how that works. So go ahead and die. If we click right away, it doesn't reset, but if we click after a period of time, it goes ahead and resets the game. And it's just as if we had refreshed the page. So the pipes aren't going. There they're going. Do this a couple times just to make sure things are kind of working as we would expect. Perfect, so it seems to work just fine. So now we need to add some scoring and we'll be all done here. So, doing scoring, how do we do it? So, what we want to do is we definitely want to go to the top here. We're going to say score and then score text. So score is going to hold my actual like integer score, and score text is my text object for easel.js. From there, what I want to do is I want to create a function called create score. That's jump Flappy, create pipes, remove pipes, start game. Okay, so we'll do function create score. Down here, we'll do score is equal to 0. We'll say that score text is going to be equal to a new Create.js.text. The text itself is going to be score. It's going to be a bold 48 pixel Arial font. I spelled Arial font wrong. Whoopsie. And then we're going to make it white. So FFF. We'll do score text.text align. We're going to put it right in the center. We're going to do score text.text baseline. It's going to be the middle, so middle on the vertical. We are going to do score text.x is equal to 40. We're going to do score text.x. Score text.y is equal to 40. And then we're going to do var bounds is going to be equal to score text.getBounds. So score text is going to calculate sort of the rectangle that goes around it with get bounds. It's not perfect, but we'll provide it a little bit of a margin or a safe zone. And this is what we're going to use for caching. So I'm going to say score text.cache. We're going to do -40, -40. We're going to do bounds.width times 3 because I want it to actually be able to do like 3 integers wide. And sorry, that should be times 3. Plus we're going to do math.absolute value bounds.x. Then we're going to do bounds.height plus math.absolute value bounds.y. So this is basically going to provide a rectangle. I think it does like its x and y is the middle of it, like it's got a registration point in the middle, so that's why we kind of do like -40, -40, starting there, and then because you're doing this in the local coordinates for the text, so like its center point is like there, so then you want to go like 40 back and like 40 up to get the top left corner of the text, but it's -40 because the 0, 0 is that middle, if that makes sense. And then we want it to be like 3 wide, plus the x, which is actually like a negative x, but we want to make it positive. Then we take the height, plus, because the y is negative, so we actually want the positive version of the y. It's kind of confusing, but you can console log this get bounds thing if you want to see kind of how the math works a little bit better. But yeah, you can go ahead and just type that one in. These are kind of annoying to cache, but this works. It provides a large enough area that we can see all the text. So from there, I want to do stage.addChild, and I want to do score text. No, sorry, just score text. I'll add an outline to it in a second, but we won't start with that. We'll make sure our score is actually working first. So now what we need to do is a way to actually detect that the Flappy Bird passed the score. So what we can do to do that is under our pipes, where we're moving them, here we have this. Just to one of these, because I don't need it to do multiple times, they should be in the same spot. I'm going to do an add. We'll go to the next line just so you guys can see. Add event listener. That is going to be for a change. So every time tween actually changes this x value, I want it to go ahead and call this as well. And then we're going to make a function called update pipe. Okay. And what I want to do in update pipe is basically check if Flappy Bird passed the very end of this pipe. Or rather, if this pipe passed the very end of Flappy. So in update pipe, I get an event. We're going to say var pipe updated is equal to event.target.target. No idea really why it's like this, but I logged the object, and that's how we actually get to the pipe itself that we want. So it's a little convoluted, but that's okay. And so we'll do pipe updated dot x minus pipe updated dot regex, because remember it's in the middle, so we actually want to get the left hand corner again, plus pipe updated dot image dot width. So we're saying get us to the left hand corner, then add the width so I can get the right hand corner of the pipe. And once I've got that right hand side of that pipe, I want to see if that's less than Flappy. And remember, as the pipe goes further left, x decreases because we're getting close to that left side, which is 0. Flappy.x minus Flappy.regex, which should get me the left hand corner of the Flappy. So when the Flappy's left hand corner is past the right corner of the pipe, I know it's like all the way past, and that's when I want to increase my score. So what I want to do is I want to do event.target.remove event listener, because otherwise it would keep calling this and keep increasing my score. I only want it to do it once, so now I can remove this event listener that I added up here. So we'll say change update pipe. And then we'll do increment score. And so in increment score, what we're going to do is I'll put that under create score since it's related to our create score increment score. We want to do score plus plus, so just increase it by 1. Now we need to change the text on the actual text. So we have that integer that keeps track of the score, but then we need to make sure the text is actually synced up. So score text dot text rather is equal to score. And then we're going to do score text dot update cache. So remember we cached that big area that was like 3 things long. What I've tried to do in the past is just get the bounds here, but for whatever reason it just returns 0. So that's why I just do this massive cache up here, and then we can just simply update cache with the same bounds. Let's go ahead and refresh. And I don't see anything because we didn't put create score in our handle complete. So let's try doing that. And now I see my white score, so we have 0. Let's go ahead and see. So something is weird here. So we had a spelling mistake where pipe updated here, and then we had a pipe updated is not defined, so it was having issues updating the pipe. Pretty weird stuff. Let's go ahead and refresh and see if everything's happy again. Seems that we are. So let's go ahead and see if that score increases when we get past there, and it does. See if I can, oh, I lost the game. But we can just go ahead and reset it now because we added that functionality. And so it increases as we go there. Now, one thing you will notice is that our score is actually going behind our pipes, which isn't quite right. So that's because our pipes are always being added after the score. I mean, we have to add the score at the start of the game, and the pipes are being added throughout. But there is a way to fix that by changing the index of the pipes. So prior to this point, we haven't had to do that, but now that we have the score, we need to make sure that the pipes actually slip in behind the score. So how do we adjust that? I can show you right away. So the way that we do that is where we have the stage add child here. We can specify the index that we want to have them at. So we can do var score index. We first need to know what index the score is at. So we can do stage.get child index for score text. Then we can say score index. Sorry, the function is add child at because we're specifying the index. My bad. So things should be happy with us now. And our score should be above our pipes. And we can see that it goes above the pipes. So really the last thing I was going to show you guys, I mean the score works good. It just doesn't look that good with the clouds because it's white. So one thing we can do is actually add a outline to the score. And basically the way we do this is pretty much just by duplicating the code for the score, but specifying it as a stroke rather than a solid text. So if you go up here to your create score, which is actually down here, you basically can just copy all of this here. Sorry, my apologies. So basically what you can do is you can clone it. So you can do score text outline equals score text dot clone. So you don't actually have to retype everything. And then we can do score text outline dot color is going to be equal to, I'm going to make a black outline. Score text outline. And then you do dot outline, so that's going to make it a stroke rather than a solid thing there. And then you basically just copy this line here, except we've already declared bounds as a variable, so we can remove the var. And then you want to make sure that you're doing score text outline anywhere here. So I can, it's only two places, score text outline, and then score text outline. Go ahead and refresh it. Sorry, we have to actually add it to the stage. My bad. Sorry guys, it's just coming up to the end of this tutorial here, and I'm just going quick trying to get all this done for you, and we're getting sloppy. But we'll be done right away. And there we have it. We have the score text outline in addition to the score text. However, there's a problem. It's not updating, so we're also going to have to update that in increment score. So we do the same thing that we did before. We'll do score text.text equals score text outline dot text equals score, and then we'll do score text outline dot update cache, and then we should be okay from there. It should stay synced. Just make sure. And it does. So we have a beautiful outline on our score. It's much easier to see as it goes above the pipes or the clouds. And our Flappy Bird is essentially done. So with that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial series. Again, it's been Ryan on the Syntax Byte. And as I've mentioned in all my previous videos, I will have a link to the full source code for the video, as well as the assets that I'm using in the description below. It's just a tutorial on my website, syntaxbytetutorials.com. Go ahead and check it out and join me in future tutorials. Until then, like, comment, subscribe on this video, and I will see you later.